My niggas, we still oppressed. We just went from a pot to a kettle. One West rebel, pressure bust pipes or a blood vessel. You know the white man is the devil. This truth will never stop teaching. UBK soldiers in every region. Right now is the time and the season. No heathens, no heathens. Just before the sun of no treason. One West until a nigga stop breathing. Kwam Yasha Allah, we screaming. No heathens, no heathens. Death before the sauna, we living through trauma under command General Yohana. This army is stronger. We on the front line, ready to die for this truth. While the white man kissing our boots. And I don't never see none of you cowards when the work is getting started. Cause year of your father, the serpent in the garden, they plotting and scheming. We going through curses, fighting demons. Give a fuck about a flat earth, but my people out here feeling pain and anguish because the gates thereof language scattered abroad. We was given another language, plus we living at the bottom, supposed to be on top. When it stop, get killed by the hands of these wicked cops. Lacing our boots, ready for war. This is One West, and we are not affiliated. Nigga, fuck the rest. Me and my brother just want a ball. Shout out to ICR, and we some warlords. Learned that from Yasha. This truth will never stop teaching. UBK soldiers in every region. Right now is the time and the season. No heathens, no heathens. Just before the sun of no treason. One West until a nigga stop breathing. Kwam Yasha Allah, we screaming. No heathens, no heathens.
Now let me tell y'all something. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, we the true Jews of the Bible. We gotta come together and stop fighting against each other, man. Instead of loving these heathens, we need to love each other. That's the only way we gonna win this war against our enemies.
This truth will never stop teaching. UBK soldiers in every region. Right now is the time and the season. No heathens, no heathens. Just before the sun of no treason. One West until a nigga stop breathing. Kwam Yasha Allah, we screaming. No heathens, no heathens.
True story.
The following is based on real events.
Yo. She didn't care for the Yeezys and the Jordans. Tired of the lies pastors told over organs. Her father just passed, so her heart had a dent. She would struggle with her mother to come up with the rent. Pastor only wanted dollars, something make sense. Till she heard a little story that went something like this. What's your nationality? Come and get a flyer. Do you know we got a dark-skinned Messiah? The devil is deceitful and the white man is a liar. Now she wanna study just to get her knowledge higher. A few months passed and she ain't one with her mother. Since she started learning, they would argue with each other. My mother doesn't understand, I'm not in the code. She needs to respect my decisions as an adult. This is a nice place where nobody will hurt you. Everything's so pretty and we're all wearing purple. It's been a few months, she found a man of the Lord. One who's steady in the word, always sharpening his sword. Stimulates her mind so she never gets bored. Talks to her like a princess and never like a whore. Got her thinking that there's more than only getting the draws. He's such a gentleman, always opening doors. Took her on a date, paid for everything in the stores. From dinner to Michael Kors, he's like, have it, it's yours. She can't believe it, it's all but a dream. Everything is beautiful, all peaches and cream. She says to herself, I'm happy I joined this group. It makes me feel good, I finally found the truth. These other groups always talking about polygyny, but I found a real man who says he's only into me. What a nice place where nobody will hurt you. Everything's so pretty and we're all wearing purple. Then one night on their way home, she seen something she didn't like when she went through his phone. Is this why you said that it's hard to take care of me? You wasn't gonna say you got a whole family? I don't understand how you think that's fair to me. I've been sharing you, but you ain't been sharing me. Why won't you answer me? But he's thinking carefully. He tried to calm her down, don't get hype. Couldn't diffuse the situation and they started the fight. He made a wrong turn, then a left and a right. Now they was in a wooded area with not much light. How did all this go wrong? It was such a good night. Said she's gonna tell the bishop out of anger and spite. He said it's not a good idea to cause me this much strife. He should have told the truth and every lie got a price. But if it comes out to my wife, it's gonna be your life. Good night.
Yeah. Mic check 1, 2, you hear me? 144 back again. Run it back. Yeah. It's time to leave the enemy desolate. I'm heaven sent. These niggas just on some extra shit, and I ain't impressed with it.
Okay, let's clap it up. Right now, we get ready to get started. As UPK Bahamas, let's clap it up. Yeah, kick it off right now. Hey, how about Shimmy? How about Shai Barakatah? That's to the brothers. And how about Shema all the time by Shimmy? How about Shai? All the sisters. And this is Sunday evening class. And we are the ISUPK. Started out from 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yahana. And I am priest and officer of 50 Akashka ISUPK Bahamas. Slovakia. So got a little bit of half-a privacy on this end for me here. And so today, our topic is, who are you? And Slovakia for that. I need to go and edit that topic. I didn't read that well. Did you pop up out of thin air? But no, none of us popped up out of thin air. Slovakia for 1 second here. Yeah, nobody popped up out of thin air. So we got to look at how did we get to be where we are? And who are we? And a lot of people don't realize that they are Israelites. We're still stuck in the mindset of what we all were. We all were Gentiles. So a lot of us are still stuck in that mindset, not knowing who we are. So today we're going to go through who we are and how we get to be where we are. And you may want to accept it, you may want to reject it, but it's up to the priest to put it in the front of your face, and then you have to reject it or accept it. And that's what it's always been. The priest must always stand up and show the people what is right. And so what we do, we try to show the people what is right and try to give them an understanding. So our attempt in trying to give you an understanding today on where you came from and how you know who you are. So I'm going to go into the blue letter. Let me get it all cranked up here. Just give me a minute while I crank up the blue letter, but I'll continue. I'll ask right now. I see you be in with young man Bryce. Young man Bryce, I said, have any questions so far? Captain will be in a little later, and of course, if it's an easy one, we'll put it out, or we'll write it down and wait till the captain comes in, and he'll bust it down for you. So if you have any questions, you can feel free. And like and share, and as you watch, you could actually share, you could send out your share from your phone. You could share it with other people in your contacts. You don't need to share the fact where they come on, but you could share. What you would share is that they could just watch it from the YouTube. You look into the YouTube and you see the share, and you could share it with some people in your contacts. That's gonna widen our reception and widen our outreach for people who we're trying to reach. So I'm getting into the scriptures now. So first scripture I'm going to be starting with Deuteronomy 27 and 1. Remember, we want to talk about, did you really just pop up? Did you pop up a thin air? Did you, where did you come from? And why wasn't it taught us in school? Where we came from. Why was it such a vague thing? I don't know if when you were in school, if it was vague to you also, but it surely was vague to me in school, and even after school, and even in the Christian church. All that time it was vague. Where I couldn't find. I was not able to identify myself in the scriptures, in the Bible. I couldn't see where I was, and I don't know if other people have the same issues, but I could not see where I was when I read the scriptures. I couldn't see where I was. I was reading scriptures, but again, reading the Bible, and as far as I was concerned, understanding it, but I couldn't see where I was. Salaki, hold on to me. Salaki. So the man have too much jobs. Okay, I'll be back. Hey, young man, Bryce, you seem to have fall off yourself. Did you have any questions, young man? You're not muted, but I can't hear
This
you.
time we just was having a difficulty in technical voice. I think
You
it's
breaking
better
up?
now.
Okay, Khan.
I had technical call.
Okay, let's start getting into the scriptures. Okay, let's get it. Now, let's see what, and this, for persons who may be viewing, who may come on, it takes a little more research and time to really prove to you where you came from and who you are and how did you get to be where you are. Okay, so, but there's a good video. This brother, maybe I might find it one of these times and put it in the chat or something. But there's a good video which introduced me. At least it opened my eyes to realize that I wasn't what I thought I was. So that caused me to come down in a rabbit hole, and I guess kept searching until I now find my way where I am now. So that's a little bit of my story. Let me add this to the screen so I could. Why aren't we sharing? Okay, let's see now if we can do it now. No, that's not it. So wait a minute. Let me see if I can get this on the screen so that we can read the scripture. Put it up there. This part is a very important part to everyone to understand where they are. Now, I know it needs to be a whole class on this. Just saying where you are and where you came from and who you are, this needs to be a whole class within itself. But let's see if we could kind of go through this a little bit. All right. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded, and I'm reading Deuteronomy chapter 27 and verse 1. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day. Again, a little bit on the story. Story goes, when Moses brought the children out of Egypt, under all of the miracles that God performed to eventually break Pharaoh's heart, and he eventually allowed the children of Israel to exit. And so what we're seeing here is in the wilderness where Moses had already received the commandments from the Lord, he in turn presented them to the people, and now he's reminding them now. He said, and Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day. So he's presenting the commandments to the children of Israel. Who is in this? The important thing to understand is who was there. When did it happen? They say who, when, what, why. Okay, so we cover some of them. Who was there when it happened? Who was taught? Who was speaking? We cover those things. So who was there? Think about it. This is now the Exodus. When they exited out of Egypt, the children of Israel was there. That's who we understand. That was it. That's who the commandments was given to. That's who was reminded that you keep these commandments. Okay? That's our first scripture. That's the first thing I tried to bring you to understand. Who were the people? Who was who had the commandments given to them and reminded them that they should keep the commandments. Now, so we're gonna jump to the next scripture. Again, we still trying to help you to identify who these people are. And then they're gonna bring it home, try and show you the no secret thing, how you are the people. Now I know, and I've had this issue before, and I said it on the live before, that even when you are presented with this great gift, you actually reject this gift. You reject this gift because, hey, Shalom, sis. I see you, Yahweh Shemal, by Shemar Shai. I see you in there. We're getting it on, talking about who are you and did you pop up out of thin air. So now we in the book of Deuteronomy, and we're talking about who these people are. We're gonna get to who we are, but we want to start out from here. To identify that there is a select set of people who God, Yahweh, has selected. So we first started out, we're gonna start out identifying those persons, and then we're gonna try and trace us back to and make a connection. Okay, that's what we're doing here. Now, and this is important. Make your notes, write down the scriptures, and if you have any questions, you ask the question. Okay, so reading our second scripture. The first one was Deuteronomy 27 and 1, and then we jump to Deuteronomy 28 and 1. And I'll read it. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Now, we're just going to talk about that for a little while. All right? Just going to talk about that. I'm going to read it again. And it shall come to pass. That means in the future, this is what's going to happen. If thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. What he's saying is, if in the future, if you do it in the future, this is what will happen. If you do it, this will be the outcome of you doing it. If thou hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, and to do all his commandments, then it shall come to pass that you shall be above all nations of the earth. This is the people who he's talking to, right? And so even before we go a little further, I'm claiming that we are these people who is being spoken about. And now, why is these people who is being spoken about supposed to be above all the nations of the earth? And why? I don't know if you all agree with me, but for what I see, the people who I am actually saying is the people who this is being spoken about, they are not above all the nations on the earth. They are actually at the bottom of all the nations on the earth. Because it's saying, and bear in mind now, if we look at or we understand the Christian church, which says the laws are done away with, they are basically doing all of what they're supposed to do. So if we take, for instance, if the Christian church is the entity, they would claim that they are hearkening to the voice of the Lord diligently. That's what they would claim. They would claim this passage, the top of this passage, when it say, it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God. They will say that they are. To observe and to do all his commandments. They'll say that they are, because the only ones where they're supposed to keep, they're keeping it. And the rest are done away with. And so if that group is saying, then why aren't that group or the group who they represent, why are they not above all the nations of the earth, as the scripture said? You know why? Because they don't understand. Number one, they don't read the Bible. They don't believe the Bible. They don't read. Definitely, they don't read. So they'll pick a scripture in the New Testament. They'll let somebody teach them about it, and they'll have a sermon on the New Testament every Sunday. All right. They may even use some of the Old Testament scripture to back up what they say, but never in the context of what it was said, how it was said in the Old Testament. That's the problem. Okay. So now we identifying those persons first, and then we're going to come up to us, how we get to be where we are. And this is going to call for a little bit of research on your part. I'll tell you no lie. Do not take what anybody say from this point in your life going on. Don't take what anybody say. Do the research. Don't be lazy. Do the research. And if your research means just asking even the people who give you some of the information to give you some more information. Give me your source. What is your source? This becomes important to help you. If you don't know the source, what people are using to give you the information, what you need to do is ask, can you get that source to me? I need that source. I need to know how you come to understand where you are, because what you're saying, I don't fully understand at this point. So what is your source? I could follow the same trend, how you get to be where you are. That's important if you're not comfortable where you are, to get information. Okay? All right. We're going to jump a little bit. And because, again, we're trying to identify, using some of the identifying markers to actually identify the children who was in the wilderness, and how we're going to bring that to who I'm saying we are. So that's, hold on for that, because that's what we're coming to. That's the whole goal here. Nothing, no secret. That's the objective. The objective is to come to kind of have it's kind of says a slow walk, because there's a lot of other scriptures that need to be, and a lot of other information that need to be added to help you really be solidify in this. It's going to take more than one of these sessions to do that. So lucky I was supposed to actually give Cap a call. Okay, that's okay. We're gonna read. Any of y'all could see that screen well enough to read that? You could read that? Go ahead and read the 15th verse if you can.
I can't see it. It's too small. The screen is too small.
Okay, can you go to Deuteronomy chapter 15 and read it from 28 and 15? I could probably read it this time, but keep your Bibles handy, even though I have it on the screen. If it's too small for you to read, then you should be having your Bible in any event, so you could actually read along from the Bible if the screen is too small. Okay. But I'll read it. So you able to get it?
Deuteronomy
Chapter 28 and verse 15.
chapter 28 and verse 15.
Go ahead and read.
It shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the Lord, unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandment and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these
curses
shall come upon thee and over thee,
and overtake thee. Okay. To water. And so we see in this 15th verse that it is saying, now it's telling you something else can come to pass. It say all of that stuff, because what was actually said prior to in Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14, it tells of all different types of promises. All right, all sorts of good stuff that's going to be happening once those people who were in the wilderness was following the laws and the commandments and the statute, what they would have been engaged in, what they would have been receiving, how their lives would have been. They would have been the recipient of all those good things. And now what it's saying, and they say now, but And they say once you say a but, everything will happen before that you nullify it. So what it's saying is, but it shall come to pass, if thou will not hearken. So now, the first one, if you was hearkening, all those nice things, all those blessings prior to the 15th verse would have been happening. But what this is saying now, but if you will not hearken, then some other things is going to happen, which is all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. That's what's going to happen if you don't do what the first verse was saying, follow all the commandments. Then what happens if you don't? Then the 15th verse is the thing that kicks in. And what happens is the first verse talks about the blessings all the way up to 14. And then the 15 talk about the curses. So after the 15, it's going to run into a lot of the curses after the 15th verse, telling you what sort of curses were going to come upon you and overtake you. Now, my argument is this, a simple argument. The blacks, the Hispanics, and the natives and the Indians and the different in West Indies, the different parts of America, the Americas, all of those people are the 12 tribes. That's my argument. They are the 12 tribes, and being the 12 tribes, they identify by one of the ways to identify them is the curses. So we have the Bible, we also have some archaeology, and we have prophecy, right? So this now, the Bible's given us the prophecy on how these persons how they're gonna be, how they're gonna behave, how they're gonna be treated, how you're gonna be able to see them. So you should be able to identify them if you read these things. What it's saying is, you look around at all the different countries and the nationalities, and when you start to and just stack up all of these things against every other nationality, nations, ethnicity that you know, and the ones that come up with most of the positive, all of the positive, that is the people who this is referring to, and it's simple. And so that's the argument of ISUPK, and that's what I understand. And so that's the truth. And so what we want you to do is also understand that. I'll just read a few of the curses that is like a pick of it, and then we're gonna go a little further down. We're gonna read. Okay, we'll go right ahead and read the 16th verse. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. You know, in our inner cities, even right now in the Little Bahamas, in the inner cities, crime is rampant. And why is crime rampant? Crime is rampant because there's no real leadership, and nobody have the solution to lead men out of the darkness into the light. There's no one leading men into the ISUPK. We're just finding the truth right now in the Bahamas. So right now we have a lot of the young men, involved in a lot of gangs and killings and retaliation, and this is becoming a real problem for the Bahamas, because we see young men dying on so regular. That's becoming a problem to the older people like myself, becoming an issue. We're wondering what's going to happen with the youth if they keep this up. They're going to kill themselves off. But that's happening. Curse shall thou be in the city. Okay, that's what you're seeing. And there's also another one of these curses that actually speaks to that also. I'll see if I could get that. And then curse shall thou be in the field. I'd like to talk a little bit about this curse in the field. Now, I could identify a part of this curse as a farmer. Because even in the Genesis account, thorns and thistle, that was part of the curse all the way back then. That's a general one, right? But let me tell you, as a farmer, well, the thorns when they grow is a problem. The thistles, I mean, they're a problem. They're talking about the weeds, okay? The crops that grow where you don't want them to grow. Normally that crop, that plant, that shrub, and believe it or not, let me just digress a few seconds here, talking about this challenge and the curse in the field. Bear in mind, if we think about the crops, the plant that you don't want to be where it is, it has over time, it has beat out all of the other shrubs and crops growing there. It's beat out all of them. So right now you have a superior weed that's growing there. That's the reason why it's growing there, because it's already dominated all the other weeds. It's already sure that it can last through droughts or whatever it is. When water comes, now it just pumps itself up, right? So that's the kind of thing that happens, because the weeds, again, the weed grows, and when you give it fertilizer, is in the farming arrangement, right? You now will be given all of the ground fertilizer. So what happens is those same thistles, they grow very rapidly. So that's a challenge. It's a curse. The weeds grow quicker than your crops, and that's a curse. Okay, trust me, it's one, because that's one of the biggest challenges that a farmer would have. So that's another. We're gonna go down a little further in our reading, as we read on to in the Deuteronomy. Still, you can stick right in the Deuteronomy. But we're going to go now to 28 and we go to 32. Okay, so the 28 and 32, this reads thus: Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. Now, you may not have a personal understanding of this, but I know I would have watched the movie Roots, and that's some historical events. We would have gotten other information about slavery, where on the slave plantations, what were happening is, as families were having young ones, the children were sold off to other plantations. So their sons and their daughters were given to another people, and that's one of the ways it happened. And also, even in the initial part, I guess, of the slave trade, when we were brought over on the transatlantic slave trade, when they landed, even if family members would have come with you, they would have been separated. And in a lot of cases, they separated them. Okay, so that's one of the things I always say that the Bahamians are far removed from slavery. So we don't have any remembrance of slavery. I don't think our forefathers even talk about slavery to bring it down to the generations so that we could fully understand it. Most of the things and that's why we don't appreciate the struggles of the slaves. We don't appreciate it because we don't see ourselves going through it. We know we're here. We know somehow we end up to be here, and we understand that for those who do understand that this part of the world, we were not originally from here. So somehow we got here. How did we get here? That's what we're going to talk about now. How did you get here? How did you get in this part of the world? Okay. Let me see if I could try something as I speak. Let me see if I could try something. Yeah, how did we get in this part of the world? We got here because we got here through let me see. I'll go in reverse. Okay. I'll go in reverse. Of course, we were delivered on these islands by ship. Okay, we were delivered on these islands by ship. No planes were around at that time. So we had to get deposited here by ships. That's how we got here. All right. Let me see if I can. Trying to see something here. So we got here by ships. Now, getting here by ship, how did we get on the ships? And so we here by ship. How did we get on those ships to get here where we are? Now, this is where again you need to do research like everybody else have to, because you have to settle this stuff in your own mind. You can let Google, like Wikipedia, let these things happen. These tools are here to help us, right? This is the information time. Information is burst wide open. So it's not that you can't find things. You may not know what to ask. Sometimes you might have to ask somebody what is the right question to ask. You might need to ask that. Okay? But the thing is, information is there. Now, Salakia, hold on for me. Salakia. Okay, so how did we get on the slave ship? You would have heard stories where they were saying we are Africans. You would have heard those stories. You would also heard the stories where they say the Africans sold the Africans. I don't know if that ever sounded logical to you, but it never did to me. Okay, it never sounded logical to me that Africans just wake up one day and sell some of their brothers of the house. That didn't sound logical to me. But this is the story that I knew, that I understood, and that I believe. And I think a lot of people believe the same thing, that Africans sold Africans. But now what happens when we come to understand that when you do the research, and remember what I'm telling you, you must do some research. Don't just going forward in your whole life, never listen to just anybody just tell you something. If you don't have the source, if you need the source of what they're telling you, tell them, provide me with some source which you're using. Other than that, you need to do some research. We need to stop being lazy. Now, back to the story. Okay, so how did we get on the slave ships? I mean, we see them do documentaries now. We understand that. And think about this. The slave ships, they were built to carry slaves. Let's talk about that for a little while. They were built to carry slaves. What does that mean? That means at some point, somebody had to make up their mind to build a ship, and you can't build a ship in a week. So if they build a slave ship to go to Africa to bring slaves back, they must have had some kind of arrangement to go to get slaves. Think about it. I mean, it only makes sense. These ships where they brought the slaves on, they were not regular cargo ships. They were slave ships were built to carry slaves. They didn't just end up there, say they was dropping something else off and say, oh, let's put some slave in the hole. No, that's not the way it was done. When you see the design of the slave ship, you will know that it was designed to carry people. large number of slaves cramped in small quarters, laying out basically layers of slave lay kind of not laying on each other, but rows bounce on the top of each other. Okay, locked down, laying down. I think the route was somewhere like 3 months or something like that. Where they say a lot of the slaves died. Some gave birth. Some, they say, sometimes they was defecating. They defecate the persons on the top. They defecate and they drop on the persons at the bottom. They urinate. The same thing happens, right? So all of this didn't just haphazardly happen. The slave ship was built to carry slaves. Okay, I'm just saying that to say, I'm saying, remember this, the story I'm in now. I'm saying, how did we get to where we are? So I started to say, how did we get to the Bahamas? We got to the Bahamas on a ship. And those days, the only way because now first, we are not indigenous to this land. That means us who are here now, we wasn't always here. That's my point. At some point, we were brought here. How did we get here? We were brought here by ships. Okay? All right. Now, how did you get in the ship to come here? Well, where did the ship come from? The ship came from the west part of Africa, and it came here. Now, how did our ancestors, when I say we, how did do you remember? We didn't have to go through this a long talk, right? All right, you have children. You know your children have half of your DNA, half of your wife. When they have children, their children are gonna have some of their DNA, the wife DNA, the granddaddy DNA, the grandmother DNA. So that's how it goes. So actually, as the generations go on, you are connected by blood. So when I say, even if I refer to myself, I'm only saying that our forefathers came. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Now, back to that part. How did they get in the ship? And we say where the ship sailed from. We talk about Africans selling Africans. And I want to talk about that now because we were in the middle of talking about Africans selling Africans, which I never really got to. I never understood that. I never agreed with it. Did you? Maybe you did. Okay. But now, what has been revealed, this is what has been revealed. There was another dark-skinned set of people who had migrated from up north, migrated down into Africa, down in the lower part of Africa. So when the Caucasians went across to Africa, making a deal to buy slaves so they could go back and build their ships and come back to buy slaves, and remember now, a lot of other things was happening too. They had indentured servants coming from different parts of the world. So this slavery thing wasn't a new thing that was happening. They just realized they needed an abundance of laborers who could take the sun. So as they look for that, they find us. And with that, I'll pass the class over to priest and captain of 13,000, Captain Nayatar. Yahweh Shimi, Hawashai Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Barakatham. All right. What you're going over? Give me 1 minute, right? Continue. Give me 1 minute.
Go on, sir. Okay, so we're talking about how did we get in the slave ship? And did the Africans sell African? Were we African? They sold us, and they made the deal with the people from the west or from the east, I would say. From the west. Did they make an agreement with these people to come and sell their own brothers, or they made an agreement to sell us? Apparently, that's what happened. They made an agreement to sell some other dark-skinned people who find themselves down in the west part of Africa. And so when they came back with their ships, they already had this all planned. They would sell the people who found themselves there. They would sell them to the Africans would round them up, put them in whatever holding facility they have, and when the ships come, they would now sell them, march them out, and sell them over to the oppressors. And that's how that happened. Now, how did we get to be this different set of people down in the lower part of Africa, and how did we migrate, and where did we come from? That's the next part of the story.
Salakia, brother. All right, shalom.
Shalom,
All
sir.
right. Shalom. Yahweh Bashim Yashai Brakatham. Yahweh
Oh,
Shema
Hashem, Yahshua,
Shema.
Barakatah.
All right, where we at right now?
Okay, I was just saying, I was reversing how we got to where we are. I started off saying that we got on the islands here by a ship somehow. I also said that how did we get in the ships? I was backtracking, and I was saying we got in the ship where on the coast of Africa, and I didn't bring us up all the way yet. I'm just talking. I'm just as far as Africa, and I was saying how we got there, and I was saying that the Africans didn't sell their own brothers, but they sold us. But I've not identified where we came from as yet.
Okay, no sir.
Cancer.
To water. Young man Bryce, you have any questions? Sister Teacher, you have any questions?
Lots of.
Okay. Just to remember last class, I believe Sister Teacher had a question pertaining to the law on what? Sacrifice, right? Remember that?
Cancer.
Right? Last class. Right? Go to Matthew 5 and I believe it's 18. All right, I think we covered that last class also too. But that's a good scripture to let you know that what was the question you asked? That there?
5 and 18, sir. Okay. Count, sir.
All right. So the question the sister asks is, was the law of sacrifice done away with?
Count.
Right.
Count.
All right. So, come on.
Count. So this is the book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
Good. Didn't come to change the law. Came to what? Increase it.
Count.
Right? Now, take me to I think it's in Samuel. Right? I'll tell you where just now. Hold on. Hold on. All right. Take me to 1 Samuel 15 and 22.
This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 20. And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agar, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites.
Right. So remember, this here is when Saul told Samuel told Saul that the Lord wanted him to go and destroy everything in the city of Amalek. Everything. He wanted sheep, dog, everything in that city was supposed to be destroyed. Everything. You understand? That's why some people don't like the Old Testament, because there's a lot of deleting taking place in the Old Testament.
Cancer.
You understand? Lots of blood in the Old Testament. People don't like it. Right? Read on.
But the people took spoils, sheep and oxen.
So now, what's going on here? Let me see if you're up with the time. What's taking place here?
They were supposed to slaughter everybody, but the people did not slaughter everything. They start taking stuff. They keep it alive. Now,
good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would think in their mind they may be thinking for some sacrificing that they take sheep and oxen.
Right. No, okay. Let's read on a little bit.
God.
Read on.
The chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal.
Right. So what was his purpose? What do you say was one of his purpose? To do what?
To do sacrifice.
Yeah.
To
So remember the
sacrifice unto
question,
the
right?
Lord. Cancer.
Right, to sacrifice what? Animals unto the
Animals.
Lord.
Cancer.
Right? That's the best of the animals that they took from the what? From the spoils. You understand?
Cancer.
Right? Read on.
And Samuel said, has the Lord as great delight in burnt offering and sacrifice
Right?
as in
This is what Samuel had to ask. Samuel asked Saul, does the Lord have great what?
great delight in burnt offering
Meaning,
and
does the Lord
sacrifices
love your burnt offering and sacrifices? Read on.
as in obeying the voice of the Lord?
As in what?
As in obeying the voice of the Lord?
So what is he saying?
He's asking if you think the Lord likes sacrifices more than obeying what he tell you?
Yes. Read on.
Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice.
To what?
To obey is better than sacrifice.
What did the Lord know about us? Sister Teach, what did the Lord know about us? What does the Lord know about us? So remember, why was this sacrifice? What were you sacrificed for? Two things were you sacrificed for.
To ask for forgiveness, to repent.
Yes. So remember, there's no what? Remember in the New Testament, it said there's no there's no what's the word you use?
Remission.
Yes, remission of sin except by the what? The shedding of blood. So the Lord knew, or black people knew, Hispanics and Native Indian knew, if they committed a sin, all they had to do was take a what? A lamb or a dove, whatever the sin was, right? And whatever it required, and take it to the priest, and the priest would sacrifice it. You understand? And the Lord knew it. This is why Samuel is saying what? Read what Samuel is saying again.
And Samuel said, hath the Lord has great delight in burnt offering and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord?
Right? He asking a question. Now read the last part. Said, behold.
Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice.
That is what we have to understand now. To obey is better than what sacrificing? What sacrificing?
The sacrifice is after committing the sin, you sacrifice for the forgiveness of the sin.
So what sacrificing? Animal sacrifice.
Cancer.
All right. He's telling you it's better you obey the Lord. Now today, how do you obey the Lord today? How do you obey the Lord today?
Keeping the commandments, sir.
Yeah, but give me a little more.
Come in the ISUPK, keep the laws, commandments.
Yeah. Okay. You could record what you're saying, right? Right. Right. Go to Matthew 6:16. Go to Matthew 16.
Chapter
24.
6. Say
16
again,
and
sir.
24. 16 and
Kind of.
24.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 16 and verse 24.
Mhm.
Then said Jesus unto his disciples, if any man shall come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me.
Yeah, you understand? What you saying was correct, but this is where you're gonna have to take it. You understand? Read it one more time.
Sir. The book of Matthew, chapter 16 and verse 24.
Mhm.
Then said Jesus unto his disciples, if any man will come after me,
Mhm.
let him deny himself
Right.
and take.
What does it mean to let him deny himself? And now we talk about woman also too, not just man. You understand? Right?
Sir.
What would someone have to do? How does someone deny themselves?
So that case, sir, if I may, like we have classes already set aside for given days, and if something else comes up,
Okay. I don't want that long. Just simple. I will put it simple. Meaning this. How did the disciples deny themselves?
let's follow Christ.
You see how simple that was?
Sir.
Right? You're going to have to what? Follow Christ. You're going to have to do what Christ did. Christ did what first? He sacrificed what? Himself.
Himself.
You understand? He was the lamb. You understand? That was slain. You understand? Now you are going to have to do what? You are going to have to sacrifice yourself. You're going to have to follow Christ. You're going to have to deny yourself. You understand? No, you come into the truth. You used to smoke marijuana, cigarettes. You are going to have to what? To follow Christ. You're going to have to deny yourself.
Deny yourself.
You understand? Right? You eating crab, shrimp. You're not following the dietary law. You come into this school, you're going to have to what now? Start following Christ and start what? Following the dietary law. Following law on marriage. You understand? Right? Read on.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it.
Oh boy, what does that mean? No. Hold on. Right? Deny himself and what? Take up his cross.
Take up his cross and follow me.
What does it mean by take up his cross? You know, Christians literally do what? They literally go what? Make a cross.
Make a cross and wear it.
and try to put it across the shoulder to show that they're taking the burden on. Right? But what does this mean? This is not literal. They say take your cross up. A cross is a what? What was the cross to Christ?
It was an instrument of death, sir.
Okay, when Christ was crying, it was a what? Say that one more time.
Seek forgiveness for your sin. Whatever you
whatever
burden you
have. The cross. You said the word, what the cross is. That cross is a what? Is a burden.
Sin.
No, not sin. It's a
It's a
burden.
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 Yes. Right? That's why he said you're gonna have to take up what? Your cross and what? Follow me. You understand? All right?
Cancel.
Good. Why? Because brothers and sisters come into this school and what be a pull for them. Sometimes what? Your family be a pull for you. Guess what? You better still come to class. Sometime your kids, sometime your wife. You understand? Sometime your job, but you're gonna have to what? You're gonna have to do this nonetheless. You understand? And follow Christ. You understand? Remember Peter and them. Did Peter have a family?
Cancel.
What did Peter say? Peter told Christ what? I have what? Deserted everything to follow you. You understand? He had a job. He was a what? Peter was a what?
Peter, I think, is a fisherman.
A fisherman. He's a fisherman. He
Cancel.
had a slavery. And he left all of that. You understand? Left all of it and follow Christ. Took his cross up and follow what? Christ. You understand? People think they'll come into the truth, and then guess what? Magically, everything they start going what? Good for them. You understand? But not in the case. Hard times gonna come. So because hard time come, you're gonna drop it and just move on. No. Christ telling you to come with your what? Your cross, come with your burden. Pick that burden up. Why? Because now we're going to have each other. Now I can help you carry it. You can help me carry it some days. You understand? Right? Read on.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it.
Right. And now you see what the cross means. You understand? They're giving you a little more into it. Whosoever shall what?
Lose his life.
Shall lose his life. How do you lose your life?
Whosoever shall save his life shall lose it.
And how do you save your life? How do you save your life?
I guess trying to do things yourself.
No. Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm. How do you save your life? Think about it this way. The man who you was... Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Say, follow Christ. You just deny everything you used to do and just follow Christ. That's when you save your life.
Okay. Read it one more time, Ashka.
Cancel. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it.
Mm-hmm. Read on.
And whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it.
Oh boy. So you see. So based on what you saying, the first part is the second part. It's confusing. And it's only confusing because of the Christian church. Without the Christian church, brothers and sisters will understand what Christ is saying because this is how we speak. You understand? This is how we talk to each other. You understand? Right? Christ is basically telling you this. If you're going to do it your way, what's going to happen?
You're going to lose your life.
No, read that first part again.
Whosoever shall save his life shall lose it.
Yes, you're correct. You're trying to do it your way.
Yes.
You're going to do what?
You'll lose it. Yes.
You're going to lose it.
Cancel.
So now You trying to tell a brother come into this truth, and you trying to tell him do the Lord's statutes and commandments, do the dietary law. You telling him, you speaking to him about the interracial marriage. Guess what? He doesn't want any conflict in his house. He doesn't want to lose his job. He doesn't want to have the disapproval of his children. So he celebrates Christmas or birthdays for his children. That man is going to do what?
He's gonna lose his life.
He's going to lose his life.
Cancer.
He's going to lose his life. You understand? He's going to lose it. I'm telling you, the more you come in and the more you start getting seasoned in this truth, the people around you, you're going to see their downfall. In other words, you know what I mean? You stay in this truth. You understand? You're going to see that preacher who been preaching all them lies, and they try to go to and tell him, yo, what you're saying is not what's in the Bible. You're not teaching the truth. That preacher, 5 years, 10 years from now, oh, go see him. See how he doing. You understand? He tried to do what? He tried to save his life. Your uncle, your grandson, your nephews, they try to save their lives. But in the end, it's going to do what? They're going to lose it.
Lose it.
But read that next part.
Cancer. And whosoever shall lose his life for my sake.
No, how do you lose your life?
So like I said, if I may,
Uh-huh.
you're following Christ, and if you just happen to lose your life in the process.
No, this is not literal. This is spiritual. This is not literal.
So like yeah, it's not literally. Well, following him 100%.
You read that part one more time. I'll show you something.
Cancer.
Read that part one more time.
And whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
So now, if you're saying that this man losing his life, how can a dead man find his life? If it's literal. You understand?
Cancer.
But guess what, Ashka? Ashka could find his life. Because you lose your life. You became what? Born again.
Cancer.
You lost your life.
No,
you don't just go and do anything you feel like doing. You follow orders.
Sir. I mean,
saying,
so like I said, badly.
Yeah, right. You follow orders.
Follow what?
You understand?
Can.
You don't do. I don't live like how I want to live, like I was in the world. Now I come and do what Commander Jerry Hanna tells me to, what Jeremiah Hyman, what all the generals tell me to do, I do it. You understand?
Cancer.
No, I can't just be like, well, you know what? I'm going to take my phone off and I'm going on a vacation. No, I can't do that. Because now I done what? I decide to what? Lose my life to what? To find it.
To cancer.
So now you understand when you see a brother or sister going through something in life, you can be like, she had to go to the hospital for high blood pressure. Sis, you eating pork? Brother, you eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster? You may want to stop that. You understand? Now you able to what? You able to see what life is. You able to live life. You understand?
Can.
You able to live. But in the past, you wasn't living. You was not living. You was trying to save your life, but in the end, you was going to what?
Lose it.
Just like, you know what I mean? Lord be with so many of your brothers and sisters in the world, you know what I mean, who refuse to come in here, refuse to come in and take, you know what I mean, take in this truth. All right? Any more?
Cancer.
Read on.
This is Matthew chapter 16 verse 27.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Salaki, sir. No, not 27.
26.
26.
Mhm.
For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
Read on.
Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?
And what have men been given in exchange for their soul? To save their life. What's the number one? What's on the number one thing on the list?
Money.
Money. Yeah. Money. You bring this truth to a man. You understand? You tell him that we have to separate from the so-called oppressor. The first thing he goes in his mind is what? I'm not going to eat. How am I going to survive? You understand?
Okay.
Right? You tell this man that the Lord only Christ only died for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. He's going to think, how am I going to survive? He going in survival mode.
Cancer.
Right? Remember when Christ spoke to the rich man and tell him if yes, you follow, you do everything you're supposed to do, but there's one thing you have to do. You got to go sell everything you have and give it to the poor. And he could not do it. Why? Because he loved money more than his brothers. You understand? And Christ knew it. Christ knew he wasn't able to walk this path, wasn't able to follow him. That rich man did not want to He did not want to lose his
life for Christ.
Yes. Didn't want to lose his life for Christ. He wanted to save himself. And so many of us think money can save us. You understand? So many of us think a wicked woman could save us. So many of us think, appeasing these kids, appeasing, your boss on the slavery going to save your life. It's not. And what did Christ also say to his disciples? He said Look whose faces is on that inscription.
Answer.
Render unto Caesar what Caesar, and unto the Lord render what is his. You understand? You the Lord portion. All right? Any more?
So that's it for that part.
All right, that's it for that. Okay. All right, so you're good to go, right? So the Lord's sacrifice is not done away with. What's done? What we don't do again? We don't We don't sacrifice what?
We don't sacrifice animals.
Yeah, now it's increased. To who?
We are now a living sacrifice.
Yeah, we have to now do what Christ did.
Cancer.
You understand? All right? We're gonna have to do it. All right? Remember, the laws are what? Not done away with.
Not done away with.
All right? Okay. There's something I wanted to touch on today. Something. Okay. What is sin? Sin is
the transgression of God's law.
Right, go to it. 1 John. John 3 and 4.
Answer. 1 John chapter 3 verse 4. Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
For sin is what?
For sin is the transgression of the law.
For sin is the transgression of the law. You understand? All right? So now, let me see. Okay. Question: is it wrong to wear blue jeans? Is it a sin to wear blue jeans?
Let us, sir.
Okay. Is it a sin to wear black shoes?
Let us, sir.
How we know that?
Because there's no law that says you can't do that.
Very good. And that's what you need. Go to Romans 4 and 15.
This is the book of Romans chapter 4 and verse 15. Because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression.
Right? So now you could take that with what? Anything that you do.
Canon and cancer.
You want to know whether you're doing something wrong, you're going to first have to ask yourself what? What you're going to have to ask yourself?
Is there a law against it?
Yes. Is there a law against what I'm doing? All right? There's so many things that the Christian church try to lay claim to. If you doing that, it's a sin. But when you actually open the Bible, it's not. You understand?
Cancer.
Right? For example, give me some examples of some things that the Christian should say it's wrong to do. What are some things the Christian should say is a sin?
I know that some of them do.
Senator?
We call it
keeping multiple women.
Yes, that's one of the number one things in the Christian church. They tell you what? A man cannot have more than one what?
Wife.
But what's the law on a man having a wife? There's no law saying that a man can have what? One wife, zero wife, or what? Multiple wife. There's no law saying it. Right? It's like saying you only allowed to have 4 pair of shoes. You look at somebody else saying, why am I only allowed to have 4 pair of shoes? Where you getting that law from? Where you getting that from? You're allowed to have as many pairs of shoes as you want. Well, guess what? Am I allowed to have as many wives as you want? Because there's no law saying. But now when it comes to a woman, how many husbands a woman could have?
So that is
one husband.
One husband. Correct. A woman could only have one husband. And the Bible said that woman, she only could have one husband for her whole entire life. You understand? One. And that's a law in the Bible. You understand? All right? That's why it's so good to know that you know what I mean, for some sisters, they do have a second chance. To know that they could come into this shoot, share themselves, become somebody brand new. And whatever they did in the past, that's with whoever that was in the past. But now there's somebody brand new. Good? All right. So read that one more time.
The book of Romans chapter 4 and verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
Because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression.
Right? There is no transgression where there is no law. Good. We're good with that, right?
Can't, sir.
All right. All right. You have any questions so far?
Last time to what?
Okay. So my question is, okay, how do you deal with someone, right? Right, who comes up to you and say, well, the reason why I smoke cigarette is because of what happened to me. How do you deal with that person? How do you deal with that situation? Because you're gonna run into people like that. You're gonna run into, brothers who gonna tell you, okay, the reason why I'm like this is because, for example, brothers who been abused, right? As children coming up by an uncle or by the priest in the church, the reverend in the church. What do they grow into?
They go into abusers themselves and sometimes homosexuals.
Yes,
Or
and
both.
yes, and when they're caught in the act, what do they say?
They'll claim it on what happened to them in the past.
Yes. So in other words, they're making what?
An excuse.
Excuse. You understand? They're making an excuse. Now, what happens to somebody who is an adulterer? According to the Bible.
Oh, they're supposed to be put to death.
Okay, let's get there. Let's get there. Go to Leviticus. Leviticus 10, maybe 27.
Leviticus only have 20 verses, sir.
Hold on. What did I say? Leviticus what?
10.
No, sorry. Leviticus 20.
And verse.
I think it might be 27. Hold on. No, hold on. All right. Go to Leviticus 20 and 13.
This is the book of Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 13. If a man also lied with mankind, as he lied with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death.
They shall what?
They shall surely be put to death.
They shall surely be put to death. All right? All right? And what's the next one? This one is what? This is somebody who becomes what? A homosexual. All right?
Cancer.
He start living that lifestyle. Good?
Cancer.
Now, somebody who commits adultery, that person was supposed to be what? Go to verse 10. Start at verse 10.
This is the book of Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 10. And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
like it's saying what? Surely, not if, no, but surely be put to death. Now you're with me, right?
Kind of answer.
All right. Now let's go to the one where Christ found the woman in adultery.
So like I said, if I may,
Come on.
you know, coming out of the Christian church for that 30 years, I never even understood the difference between that there was a difference between a man and a woman when it comes to certain things. We always say the both of them were the same.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But it's not. And
It's
that's because the Christian church appeases to who? Try to appease who?
the women.
Yes. Because woman, when you read the Bible, it's to what?
It's
Full of what? Toxic what?
Yeah, toxic masculinity.
Yeah. That's the word they use.
Yes.
The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is a man. The angels. You read about the disciples. You understand? And everything is, if you love your brother, everything is, about, male.
Cancer.
But somehow the females, they feel excluded when they're already included. But the Lord is speaking to what? To the men. And he's letting them know how to go about dealing with what? With their nation.
Cancer.
You understand? So he's directing this to them. So when he says love your brother as you love yourself, it doesn't just mean love your brother alone. It means what? Love your sister also too.
Cancer.
You understand?
Can.
Right? Now go to hold on. Hold on. All right. Go to John 8:1.
This is the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus went unto the Mount of Olives.
Mm-hmm.
And early
That's John 8:1, right?
Cancer.
Go ahead.
And early in the morning, he came again into the temple, and all of the people came unto him and sat down, and he sat down and taught them.
You understand? So these are show how Christ was. You understand? Christ was about doing what?
Teaching.
Yeah, teaching. Just like me and you, just like every brother that comes into this school that becomes a trooper, his aspiration he should be aspiring to be a what?
A teacher.
Yes. You understand? Becoming an officer so that he can do what? He can teach. Like Christ and the disciples taught their people. You understand? Right? Just to be aspiring to what? To be a camp teaching, brothers and sisters. Right? Read on.
This is the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 3. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery.
And hold on now. So the scribe and Pharisees brought what to him?
Brought unto him a woman taken in adultery.
What does that mean? She was taken in adultery.
It sounds like they caught her while she was performing adultery and brought her.
Yep, that's it. Read on.
And when they had sat her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act.
Read on.
Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned.
Mm-hmm.
But what sayest thou?
Right. So now they're saying what? Moses what?
Moses said that she should be stoned.
That she should be what? Stoned.
Stoned.
You understand? Right? Now there's something else also too that they you know what I mean, to show how the Sadducees and Pharisees was total hypocrites. Right? It's another story where Christ was talking to them about honoring their mother and father. Remember when they said it was a gift?
Kind and cancer.
Right? Hold on. Where we at right there right now?
Khan.
Hold on. I'll tell you where it is. Oh man.
Sound like
But
young man
just
Bryce trying to say something, sir.
huh?
Sound like young man Bryce was trying to say something.
Go ahead.
Something wrong with that picture because one person cannot commit adultery. There have to be a second person to be in the picture.
Very good. What you think happened to that second person?
I think they were biased in that. They should have bring the next person in also to be justified to that.
They weren't biased in it. The mere reason you don't hear about the other person is because he was stoned to death. Because they were caught in the act. Remember, you caught them in the act. Who has to die? The both of them have to die. You understand? So the only thing you could imply from what they did was what? That
They done killed the first person.
Yeah. So now it's like, okay, well, let's see what he gonna do with this one. Because then it would have been, well, you're biased because look, the man here too. You understand? Right? So they did. Remember, the court, they both of them in the act. Right? So now go back to it. I'm gonna look for it while they read it, right?
God. So like I said, what to read?
The way at in John.
Okay, John 8 and verse 5. Or you want me to go down to 6?
Where stop at?
Hold on. Well, I stop at the end of 5. So verse number 6. This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him.
Right? They wanted to do what?
To accuse him.
Right. They wanted to accuse him. That's what they wanted to do with Christ. They wanted to accuse him of doing what?
Breaking the law.
Very good. Breaking the law. That's what they wanted to accuse Christ of. Breaking the law.
God. So,
right?
Salaki, sir.
Come on.
So obviously they wanted him to spare her. Because if he did not tell them to stone her, then he would be breaking the law.
Yes. If he had said, no, she can't get stoned, when she was caught in the act, they were prepared to stone Christ also to that day. They were on a rampage right then and there. The priests had them, and the Pharisees, because they know the law, they knew the law. The Sadducees and Pharisees knew the law so well They knew that if Christ said anything other than this woman had to get stoned, then he will have to get stoned. They will have to pick up rocks for him. But Christ was much wiser than them. And what did Christ say? Read on.
But Jesus stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he heard them not.
So Christ here was doing what to them?
Ignoring them.
Yeah, he was full out ignoring them. Right, read on.
So when they had continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her.
Now, he's telling them what? Whoever ain't sin, meaning whoever never what? Committed adultery. Who never sinned, then cast the first stone. Sure. Read on.
And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out, being convicted by their own conscience.
The only reason why they were convicted by their own conscience was because of
sin.
They were
sinners.
Guilt.
Yes, I'll take that. They were sinners. They were guilty. Right, read on.
Went out one by one, beginning at the eldest and unto the least.
Yes, read on.
And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst.
Oh boy, read on.
When Jesus had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers?
He said what? Woman, where what?
Woman, where are those thine accusers?
Oh boy. What is he saying here, man? What is he asking her?
See, where are the people now who accuse you?
Yeah, what is? Read on.
Hath no man condemned thee?
Had what?
Hath no man condemned thee?
And he said, I had no man condemned thee. Meaning, had no man did what? Stone you?
Stone you, cancer.
Right, read on.
She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
Okay, no, we got to dissect that a little bit. What? Okay, what do Christians say about this story? Christians use this story to say what?
They use that, say if you committed adultery, you can get forgiveness for that.
As an excuse. Remember the topic was on, right? Somebody giving an excuse of what happened to them in the past life. You understand? Christians use this as what? An excuse to sin.
Correct.
Now, Christ, what they are not seeing there? What Christians do not see there?
So that case, if I may, they didn't see when Jesus said, Go and sin no more.
That's it. That is it. Did Christ ask this woman why she committed adultery?
Nah, sir.
Because he doesn't care. That doesn't matter. He telling her, you better not do it no more. Because Christ ain't going to be there to save you what? The next time.
Can't, sir.
You understand?
Yeah.
He's telling you, do not do it again. This is not an excuse to sin. Christ is telling you adultery is what? Sin.
Sin.
You understand? He told this woman, do not commit adultery no more. Then ask whether or not you were, you were abused. And it's and that should show you this the psychology behind it also too. Like a woman who grew up, right? Being a young girl, being abused by an uncle or by some close relative, she grows up and she becomes very promiscuous. She
Gotcha.
starts sleeping around. And she uses that as a what? An excuse. To her
Come on.
lifestyle. Right? When she should be the one who is what? She should be a fervent advocate for what? Against what?
Against that kind of abuse.
Yes, against that type of lifestyle. She's supposed to be a
Gotcha.
fervent. You understand? She's supposed to be somebody who championing that. Looking to see if a woman been abused and now doing what? Going on what? Reporting it. Making sure
Gotcha.
that this woman do not go down this spiral down this lifestyle.
Kind of.
You understand? So now, knowing that, right? Why you think the spiral down that lifestyle? It's simple. Why you think the spiral down that life? Why you think a woman who been abused, now she has multiple sex partners? Why you think that would happen? Maybe she what? She likes the feeling of getting an orgasm. You understand?
Gotcha.
Maybe. And it has nothing to do with her getting what? Abused, molested. You understand? And don't get me wrong, I'm not speaking light of it. But what I don't want my brothers and sisters to do is what? To use it as a what?
As an excuse.
Gotcha. So now a man, you being abused, and now you going to live a lifestyle of the LGBTQ community. You're going on that alternative lifestyle. You do not have to go down that path. You should not use that as an excuse to go down that path. What that person did to you was wrong. And we're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to come and speak to someone. You're going to have to come and cry out for help. But you should not use that as an excuse to go down that path. Christ never used this, have this woman who was caught in adultery use whatever happened to her in her past life that he didn't know about. He didn't have to use it as an excuse. He told her, go and sin what?
No more.
No more. You understand? All right? All right? Give me 1 minute. All right? Go to Ecclesiasticus 32 and 17. I'm going to end it on this one. Ecclesiasticus 32 and 17. Right? This is what you're going to have to understand about, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Who you go to when you try to tell them, yo, you have to stop smoking cigarettes. You need to stop smoking weed. Boy, you don't know how much pressure I've been, how my life was, and start to cry and boo-hoo about whatever been going on in their life.
Come on, sir.
This is what you're going to have to pay attention to. Read.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 32 and verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
A sinful man will not be reproved.
What does that mean? And simple, put it simple. A sinful man does not want to be what?
Corrected.
That's it. So now you going and telling a woman you can only have sex with one man for your whole entire life. If she is sinful, read on.
But find it an excuse according to his will.
You're going to find an excuse to why you want to do what? Why you want to smoke cigarette, right? Why you want to be promiscuous, why you want to have sex with another, you know what I mean, with the same sex. You're going to find an excuse. You understand?
Cancer.
All right. So you come in here. There's no reason for any sin. You understand? There's no reason for you sinning. You live your life like that, brothers and sisters. Oh, you're going to be a changed man. You know when brothers recognize this? When do brothers and sisters recognize that there's no excuse for your past life? When do we recognize this?
When?
When?
Sure. I mean, when you come to the truth. When you come to
Lord,
the truth.
no, not. Okay, yes, but I'm talking about when do brothers and sisters on the whole, because not all brothers and sisters are in the truth, right?
Okay.
Some of us are not, but they're going to recognize that there's no excuse when something happens.
Cancer. And they can't get over what happened. If like you say, if something happens, if they commit something and they can't get out, they realize that they can't make an excuse to get out of it.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta take me there. Young man Bryce, go ahead.
When they get a sickness, some sort of sickness or disease come up upon them.
No, the still won't recognize it. You know what I mean? They still won't recognize it because now they have medicine that could make AIDS all the way what? HIV all the way dormant.
Okay, my brother.
They don't recognize it. Guess when they recognize there's no excuse is when they confront a judge. You understand? You delete a brother, right? Can you go in front of a judge and say, well, judge, because of my past life, I was high. That's why I did it. That judge is going to send you to jail.
Can't say.
That judge doesn't want to hear nothing. Oh, because of what? So you tell me we sitting on here today. A loved one has to be buried because of your abuse that took place. Oh, you're going to jail. You understand? You don't want to be that person to realize that there's no excuse for sin. You understand? You want to realize that right now. In the truth, especially, you want to recognize that right now. There's no excuse. All right? Any questions? If not, we'll pass the class over to Priest and Officer Akashka. All right, so clap it up. All right. I'm going to pass the class over to Priest and Officer Akashka to give us the announcement.
Sir. The water for your lesson, sir.
Thank Christ.
Taken from one of the other captains, Kahan. That is nuclear, sir.
Yeah, man. That's right. Go ahead.
This is a security announcement. We are the ISUPK, started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3:8 through 10. And it means tenth in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashera. 10% of every penny of any increase that the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. The priest fund. Free will offering for priests is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give, you can give. Upcoming Holy Convocation is the memorial blowing of trumpet, which is Wednesday the 2nd of October. Remind Akim and Akwathiam to check the social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, YouTube for ISUPK events and material. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, men of Israel, a Mijam, which means to stand. We'll give one courtesy salute to our teacher, a Mijam Shabbat, a Mijam Barak, Yahweh Bayashim, Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Brakatham.
Adimita means hands down. Our sister's gone. So with that, class dismissed.
All right, Shalom. Shalom, warrior.
Torah, sir.
Ayanaba. Shalom.
Shalom.